WEOB
News with Ben Kinney.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney, and for Gary this morning.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
Yeah, definitely going to be a busy day for the Storm Tracker 2 team. We're watching, the potential for some severe weather, and it's rare to say that in March. I mean, look at the radar. You already got thunderstorms off Lake Ontario, right?
Yeah, that's right. And this time of year, when you see a system like this, you always want to play it cautious with the amount of dynamics in the atmosphere. Let's take a look right now because there's a lot to get through this morning. So first, let's talk temperatures. And it's looking pretty warm out there. It's feeling a bit more like a taste of spring again. But this is one of those scenarios where anytime we see these massive jumps in temperature, it just shows us how unstable the temperature trend is going to be over the next 24 hours. The same time tomorrow morning, we're talking wind chills in the single digits. So we've got a massive swing in temperature to look ahead to throughout this afternoon. Here's a look at the radar right now. We have a few pop-up showers here and there. A thunderstorm, as Ben mentioned, over Lake Ontario. About 10 lightning strikes right there off the shores of Oswego right now. And as we zoom out a little bit, we can see right here what will be the severe weather risk for today. It is not very common in early to mid-March to have a slight risk, a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather in our area. That is indicated by the color yellow. Level 1 out of 5 is the dark green. And the forcing mechanism in the atmosphere today is shear, basically change in wind direction and speed with altitude. And it is incredibly high. Now, there aren't a whole lot of other ingredients like instability here locally today that will be a big factor. But when it comes to the sun today, if we see more sunshine, the risk for severe weather increases because you basically are giving a lot more fuel to ignite. So today, strong system, basically it moves all throughout the East Coast. We're on the fringe of severe weather potential. We're not in the brunt of it. So I want to give you guys some peace of mind here. A flash freeze and snow will follow as we head throughout the evening hours today. But you can see here highs pushing the 60s. Now, as a reminder, make sure you're just weather aware. This is not to scare you, but to prepare you for situations like this, especially with a very strong system. I'm going to dive into all the details. I'll break down the timing and everything you need to know coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Definitely a good day to have the Storm Tracker 2 weather app at the ready and your NOAA weather radios on. A quick water alert. Residents in parts of Herkimer being asked to boil their water. Herkimer police tell us it's because of a...
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Good Monday morning, everybody. Time now is 5:11, and here's what you can expect throughout the day today. And it's one of those days you're going to want to make sure you're weather aware. That Storm Tracker 2 app you can download by using that QR code right here next to me. You can scan that, takes you to the app or Google Play Store. You can download it, and the big thing about that is that if we do see severe weather, you will have a notification sent right to your phone as soon as it happens. We have machines here that send out stuff as they happen, and it's very important as time is always a valuable commodity when things like this happen. Now, again, this morning we're at 45 degrees. We've got blustery conditions, 20-mile-per-hour winds from the east, and today, here's a look at the bigger picture, and there is a moderate risk, a level 4 out of 5 risk for severe weather right along the Atlantic coast here. And you can see here lots of wind damage heading through the Georgia area, Alabama, Tennessee, heading into the Carolinas. Now here locally, we're on the fringe of it. This is why this is one of those scenarios where the severe weather could be mainly to our south, but because we're on the edge of it, because there's so much forcing in the atmosphere, we don't want to take that risk. Just make sure you're weather aware throughout the day today. You can see here it's pretty quiet throughout the morning and afternoon. And in the evening, you see here this front begin to arrive by 5 p.m. onwards. There's that front, and then eventually snow behind it, and then lake effect to follow. A massive shift in temperature. But we're going to break this down in a lot more detail for you coming up in just a couple of minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. A wild day on tap for sure. Well, happening today, New York State is reminding residents that
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. On this Monday, we've got a lot to get through over the next few minutes on what's going to happen in the next 24 hours. And we've had days like this before, but this one is a little bit different. Now, let's take a look at the radar and satellite. So right here, we have an approaching low pressure. The current pressure is right around 985 millibars. Basically, it's a strong system, not incredibly strong, but the forcing mechanism, the cold front working its way through, this is something we are watching here as we zoom out a little bit. There's blizzard warnings all throughout sections of Wisconsin, heading toward Illinois, Iowa, and then, of course, that leading edge right here, that cold front right here, heading eastward toward the Atlantic coast. This morning, it's mainly dry, but we have a few pop-up showers here and there due to topographical lift here. Basically, all that air is getting forced upwards. A few thunderstorms in Oswego County, but that's really about it. We zoom to the south, in the southeast, I should say, and there is a massive squall line of thunderstorms that is heading toward the Atlanta area. Right now, there's hail, significant wind damage along that line, and of course, that will be impacting the Atlantic coast throughout the day today. Now, what does that mean for us? We're on the fringe of everything. So you see here, we're at a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather in the yellow zone here, level 1 out of 5 risk for the green zone. Now, when it comes to damaging wind risk, that's the biggest concern today. Now, to be fair, a lot of that risk will be falling where the instability is higher, which will likely be south and west of central New York. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because the hail potential here is also mainly south and west of our area. But notice, we have risk for tornadoes, 2% risk here in central New York, 5% risk as you head down toward the southern tier. Now, what does that mean? Basically, severe weather has 4 main ingredients: shear, lift, instability, and moisture. Now, in the summertime, usually we have plentiful moisture. We have a lift, which is a forcing mechanism, a cold front, and shear, which is the big thing. And today, we've got a lot of it. So despite it not being incredibly warm, when the shear like today is so incredibly high, that what it means is that any storm that forms, it can spin up rather quickly and without warning, which is why today was a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. You see this front rolling through, slamming us with some stronger winds, especially west of us as it pushes its way east. Some heavy snow on the backside of it, and then we're going to see some lake effect trail through here as this system finally pushes its way eastward. Now in our Skycast, let's time it out. So today it's not pretty busy, especially for the morning and early afternoon. We've got clouds, hopefully no sunshine. If we see sun today, that's when our concern increases. I know you guys like to see sunshine, but on a day like today, we like to see clouds. That means it's going to be a lot weaker. Then the front begins to roll its way through in the evening hours, likely after sunset, which also is a good factor. That'll likely weaken it before it reaches our area. But nonetheless, heavy rain switching over to snow. And then we're going to see some lake effect begin to form, mainly in the Tug Hill Plateau, sweeping south Tuesday evening into Tuesday night into the Mohawk Valley. Now, just quickly, look at these temperature shifts here. This is the wind chill, 3 p.m. today, 61 degrees Utica. By 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, we're at 5 in Utica, -1 in Morrisville. So quite a shift here over the next 12 to 18 hours. So today, again, Storm Tracker 2 alert day. Just make sure you're weather aware. That code at the bottom of your screen there, that Storm Tracker 2 app, you can scan it with your phone. It gives you alerts as they happen. A great tool to have for a day like today. And on top of that, too, as Ben was talking to me off camera as well, the weather radio, another tool to have, especially in the evening hours, something you can have. We have one right behind us, too.
Yeah, we do.
And, again, alerts you of any severe weather.
Yep. Thank you very much, Eric. Definitely a good day to have both of those at the ready. Still ahead, the time now, 5:20. Thank you for joining us this half hour. I'm Ben Kinney in for Gary. The big story today is the potential for severe weather, followed almost immediately by winter weather, something that's Very rare and uncommon up here, but I'd expect nothing less with the roller coaster weather we have here in central New York. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go right over to the Weather Center meteorologist Eric Gage with the latest.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yeah, it's quite a roller coaster today. Let's dive right into it. So here's a look at the conditions outside right now. We're at 45 at Griffis and Rome, in the 50s out in the western New York region. And now the conditions early today mean that it feels very spring-like. However, we're already seeing a few downpours, and now, yes, we have a thunderstorm approaching Boonville right now. These were mainly to our west, but now they're in our local area. So we've got a few isolated storms to track early this morning. Now, you see here behind me, we've got some yellows, we got some greens. Notice the scale right here. If you can't quite see it, I'll explain it. Yellow is a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, and green is a level 1 out of 5 risk. And the biggest concern today, some stronger winds, heavier rainfall, and rotating storm potential. Even though it's very low, the ingredients here are present for storms to rotate very quickly and suddenly, and they might not last long, but that's the key here. Either way, they still can form, which is why today is an alert day. Now, despite that risk, we aren't in the brunt of the severe weather potential. Look to the East Coast here. We got a rare red, moderate risk in the Atlantic coast right there, and that is where the brunt of the severe weather is expected today. So we're mainly on the fringe of it, as this mainly affects the East Coast here. Following that, as Ben alluded to, we have winter weather to follow this. So not only are we seeing severe weather potential today, but also some snow tonight and cold, seriously cold conditions heading into the early morning hours tomorrow. So today, we're sitting up near 60 this afternoon. Hopefully, no sunshine. Sunshine is something we don't want to see today. That adds instability to the atmosphere. Hopefully, we stay mostly cloudy, but we'll see how the day pans out. But again, we have much more details on the timing and all that for the severe weather this evening coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. In the Midwest, blizzard conditions are made for hazardous travel over the weekend. Snow and high winds causing travel to be nearly impossible. Zero visibility at times in parts of South Dakota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota. Millions affected by those strong winds. They're expected to continue through the day. Fortunately, we're not getting anywhere close to a blizzard. And in Iowa, that blizzard condition turned to rain and thunderstorms earlier Sunday before rapidly changing to the blizzard, setting the stage for those conditions to last through early this morning. Forecasters say the heaviest snow moved across the state in bands through last night. Only a few inches of snow fell, with higher totals likely across the northern and eastern parts of the state, with winds between 50 and 60 miles per hour. New this morning, President Trump insists.
Channel 2 is brought to you by Holland Farms Bakery and Deli. This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to News Channel 2 at sunrise on this Monday morning. Although for most of us it's rather quiet, maybe a stray sprinkle today. There is a thunderstorm in north central Oneida County in the Lee area heading up toward Boonville. Right around 10 lightning strikes reported in the last hour or so. So we do have at least an isolated storm to track this morning. The rest of us still looking mainly quiet. But our big attention, we're following this afternoon, especially this evening, which we'll be talking a bit more about that here coming up in a few minutes. For now, though, let's take a look at our photo of the day today, which brings us to changing skies over Harbor Point in Utica. A great submission here sent in by frequent submitter Lazor Photography. And let's take a look right here. It appears it's not loading here for some reason. 1 second. I'm going to load it up for you guys because, of course, I never get technology to work bright and early in the morning. Why is that always the case here? It doesn't want to wake up. Hold on 1 second. Let me load this up here in just a moment. And here we go. Let's load up that picture for you. Here we go. Let's see if it loads up now. Here we go. There it is. This is a photo here I want to show you guys. This is sent in to us by, again, Lazor Photography in Utica. So shout out to him for this amazing photo here. And if you have one like this you'd like to send to us, WKTV.com/weather/pics, a place to go to submit your own photo. That one and every photo, every morning, brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Some snowy weather made for an interesting Utica St. Patrick's Day.
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. We've got a lot to get through today. We've got severe weather risk, we've got a flash freeze risk, and even some accumulating snow on the backside of the system as we head into tomorrow. So let's just jump right into it. Here's a look at the radar and satellite right now. We've got that approaching frontal boundary here to our west. Numerous blizzard warnings along sections of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Wisconsin, including Iowa and Illinois and southern Minnesota. But we're not really going to see blizzard warnings, at least initially right now. We're going to see a mainly risk for storm potential. We got a warm front approaching and a trailing cold front here to our west. And this is going to produce the risk for severe weather later today. Not a high risk locally, but enough to make sure weather aware. An isolated storm heading toward Boonville, dropping heavy rain and some thunder and lightning, so heads up for those of you in the Boonville area today. We zoom out a little bit, but this is part of a much larger system slamming the entire East Coast with a line of severe storms, wind damage as this heads toward Atlanta with a considerable severe thunderstorm warning there, meaning there could be some serious damage down in the southeast. So what does it mean for us locally? Well, you notice here on this map, we're at level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, a slight risk in the yellow zone, and right on the fringe of Utica heading eastward. It gets less and less likely for severe weather as the front shifts its way east. Damaging wind, the biggest concern with this system, and that of course is mainly to our south and west. Zooming out, risk for hail, a lot lower, and of course more toward the southern tier. But I want to focus on this risk here, risk for tornadoes, which again, it's not high, but notice, you see here, anytime we have a risk like this, it might be a 2%, maybe 5%, there is a chance, and we always want to stress this on a day like today, where you have one of the 4, actually I should say 2 of the 4 major ingredients for severe weather. So shear, lift, instability, and moisture. Now, we have lift, we have a cold front approaching, and we got a lot of shear, basically change in wind direction and speed with altitude, which is incredibly important here because basically it means we're kind of walking a tightrope here with the fact that these storms are going to roll their way through, and any slight trigger can cause these storms to spin up. And although it's not highly likely, it is possible, which is why today's a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. Once it passes 8, 9, 10 p.m. today, severe risk is done, and then comes a flash freeze. We've got snow on the backside of this, we've got strong winds, and we got some lake effect snow to track as well as we head into Tuesday night into Wednesday, mainly north of the thruway, but that will sweep south as we head throughout Tuesday night. So timing it out here, you can see here this afternoon it's mainly cloudy. Hopefully it stays that way. We don't want to see sun today because that'll add instability or another ingredient to severe weather in there, and that's not good news for us. But either way, the strongest storms stay south and west. They weaken as they push eastward, but still, we're going to remain weather aware until this front passes. Then it's widespread snow overnight that exits, and then we're tracking blustery winds, colder wind chills, and some isolated lake effect north, which will sweep south into the Mohawk Valley as we head into Tuesday evening and overnight. So lastly, I want to mention that shift in temperature. We're at 61, that feels like temperature this afternoon. Let's fast forward to 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, and you see the difference. -8 Old Forge, 5 in Utica, and even -1 in Morrisville. So quite a busy stretch, at least for the next 12 to 18 hours. And despite that, we still have seasonable temperatures. It's not a major warm-up as we head towards spring on Friday, but it's still not looking very cold either way. So I guess it's the best of both worlds. We're entering, late March, and eventually that warm air will win out, but we're just in that limbo time period right now.
What was it, second winter, I think it was called last week, that
Yes.
graphic you put up?
And then we'll have the spring of deception,
Yeah.
then third winter, and then mud season, and then finally we have spring.
Then we have spring. All right. Oh, thank you very much, Eric. The time now, 5:55. Still ahead.
The news with Ben Kinney.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
A lot to get to this morning, but the big story we want to focus on is the potential. We have an alert day this afternoon. You definitely want to be weather aware, folks. Looking at a lot of different hazards today. Everything but the kitchen sink, and I think you might be able to throw that in there as well.
Oh, yeah, maybe the kitchen sink might be. If it falls from the sky, I would not be shocked. No. Let's take a look at what's going on outside this morning. A storm rolled through parts of Oneida County. You can see that storm report in Rome. That is since heading up toward Boonville with a lot less lightning than it did when it was passing through, say, sections of Lee and the north central Oneida County area. But nonetheless, it is a warmer start, especially in the western New York areas, a bit cooler heading toward the Hudson Valley and the eastern portions of the Mohawk Valley. A few isolated downpours here. That one just passed through Boonville, now heading toward Old Forge, and maybe out near Camden, a few stray showers as well. But nonetheless, today is a Storm Tracker 2 alert day because we have a very strong front rolling its way into the area. Following that, a flash freeze, and then we have some lake effect to follow as we head into the middle of the week this week. So this is the risk for this evening through tonight. Notice here, yellow, level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Green is level 1 out of 5 risk. And the biggest concern today is the wind gust percentage. And not only that, but also the fact that we've got a lot of shear or change in wind speed and direction with altitude today, which is why there is a tornado risk. It's not zero, but it's also not high. So I want to emphasize this. You see here, the brunt of the strength of the system is to our south and east. Level 4 out of 5 risk for the areas including Raleigh in the Carolinas and Virginia heading toward the D.C. area. But again, we're on the fringe of it here today. So what does that mean for us? Well, we've got severe weather potential today, not high, but we can't let our guard down with a front this strong. Then following that, a flash freeze, a snowfall, and a huge drop in temperature tonight through tomorrow morning. So we're going to break this down hour by hour coming up shortly. For now, though, highs today, feeling very spring-like in the 60s, but don't get used to it because tomorrow, feeling a lot colder. And on top of that, we have some storms to track this evening. So we'll be talking a bit more about this, the time frame, risks, everything you need to know to plan out your day today and make sure you're weather aware coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
Yeah, definitely a good day to get that Storm Tracker 2 weather app and have your weather radios on and ready. A quick water alert for residents.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back. Time now is 6:11 on this Monday morning, and we'll take a look at your forecast in a minute. And there's a lot to get through in just a minute, but I'll break it down for you here shortly. So right now, a live look at downtown Utica. A little damp out there this morning. Temperature 44 degrees with still decent easterly wind right now today, and that'll likely shift as we head throughout the afternoon, more to the south, and eventually a strong westerly wind tonight as the backside of this front will produce at least some snow with the arrival of that flash freeze. And before that time frame, though, we've got a massive line of thunderstorms, a confirmed tornado warning in Georgia right now. So for the time being, we're just starting to see some of the severe weather take shape, especially along the East Coast early today. We're on the fringe of it here locally. Now, I see here, if you got some of those strong storms locally right now, in fact, things are rather quieting up. But you'll notice what happens later on in the day today. We're going to see this front begin to roll its way through. Temperatures peaking near 60. Now, hopefully we stay mostly cloudy. If we start to see sunshine, that'd be concerning. But nonetheless, we see right here the arrival of a front. It's going to push its way through. Heavy rain, some stronger wind gusts, and hopefully no storms that begin to spin up, because that's our biggest concern today. There's a lot of rotational energy in the atmosphere that we're tracking. Of course, following that, see here, you've got some snow working its way in, a flash freeze tonight. Now, that's just the general synopsis of the weather today. Make sure you're weather aware. We're going to dive into why you'll be weather aware over the next 24 hours with that severe weather risk coming up in a couple of minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Happening today, New York.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. Today we are tracking the arrival of a massive cold front and a big change in the weather pattern with a flash freeze expected tonight. Before that, though, there's some severe weather risk we've got to be aware of. Let's take a look right now at the radar and satellite. So we see here on the larger scale side of the atmosphere, here's this warm front that moved its way north into central New York. This is a trailing cold front to our west. You can see maybe the very faint line here. That's the front we're tracking here. And on top of that, some heavy rain along that line. But we zoom out a little bit. We've got some blizzard warnings here for sections of the northern Midwest here. We're talking Upper Peninsula, Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois. Either way, right now, blizzard warning's not a concern. But the big thing, of course, being that severe weather. An isolated storm or two passed through from that warm front earlier this morning. Things are going to start quieting down a little bit. A much different story when it comes to the southeast. Outside Atlanta, a tornado warning and multiple considerable thunderstorm warnings in the southeastern areas early today. So this is a front that is significant, very strong, impacting those zones, especially heading toward the low country in the southeast. Here locally, you notice here we've got yellow and green on our map here. Yellow indicates level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Green indicates level 1. Now, when we see situations like this, about as high as we go risk-wise locally, usually is level 3 or enhanced, the brown color. And that usually happens in summertime. It's almost extremely rare to see it this time of year. In fact, it's very rare to see a slight risk this time of year. Now, when it comes to actual risks regarding these strong storms, wind is a big concern, number one. And then hail risk, which is mainly to our south and east, or south and west. That's number 2. But the big thing here we got to keep a close eye out for is risk for tornadoes. Now notice here, it's 2%. It's not high. This doesn't mean we're going to get hit by widespread tornadoes. What it means is that where the atmosphere is at this point, this afternoon and this evening, there could be a chance for a storm to spin up. And it's due to what's called shear. So severe weather has 4 main ingredients. And I always sometimes have to call it SLIM. Shear, lift, instability, and moisture. The 4 main ones. And we have lift, a cold front, a lifting mechanism. Maybe a little bit of moisture, a bit lower on that. It's low on instability, but we have shear, a lot of it. And you get enough of one ingredient, you can have less of other ingredients and still produce severe weather. Now, what high shear and low instability environments mean is that we're going to see maybe a chance for storms, if they do happen to spin up, to not last too long. But they still have the chance to spin up beforehand. Once the front moves through around 10:30, we're talking 6 to 8 p.m. for that severe weather window, by the way. Then that front will produce widespread snow, flash freeze, lake effect on the backside of that band. Timing it out today, you see here, we're in the upper 50s, pushing 60. Hopefully no sunshine. That'll add to that instability, what we don't want. And then there's that front right there, 5 p.m. as we push its way eastward. We've got that widespread rain rolling its way through by 8 p.m. onwards. And then, of course, widespread snow at 11:30. And the winds pick up and lake effect begins to move its way in. The temperature drop here, very important. 61 by 3 p.m. today. Wind chill at 2 degrees by 6:30 tomorrow morning. Even the negatives heading up into the Adirondacks. So a massive, massive drop in temperature tonight. And then tomorrow for St. Paddy's Day, we're going to be tracking some breezy conditions, lake effect snow. Pretty much a very wintry day. And then we'll see those temperatures climb a little bit heading towards spring itself, leaning more toward a milder stretch, but not very warm, not very cold. We're kind of in that limbo time period as we enter the warmer months. So.
All right. Thank you very much, Eric. Let's take a look at today's birthdays. For joining us this half hour, I'm Ben Kinney in for Gary. It's going to be a wild day of weather across central New York. The potential for severe weather followed by the potential for some heavy snow. So what areas are going to be affected? Just about everybody. Meteorologist Eric Gage tracking the latest from the Weather Center, and definitely a crazy day on tap.
Oh yeah, definitely a very interesting one, an eventful one today,
Yeah.
Ben. Let's take a look at the conditions outside right now. We are starting out rather warm for March standards at 44 degrees officially at Griffiths, 36 heading down to the Hudson or the Mohawk Valley toward Johnstown, and then 46 even farther south of Poughkeepsie down the Hudson Valley. So the radar right now quieting down after a rain band or even a isolated storm with some thunder rolled through sections of central Oneida County, heading its way north. It has since weakened as it moves its way outside of the northern Adirondacks. But today, we can't let our guard down. You see here, we've got yellow on this map indicating level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Biggest concern, strong wind gusts and rotating storm potential. Now, I do want to clarify that on a day like today, the chances of us seeing widespread storms, not very high. But the issue is if a storm tries to form, it has a very favorable environment to do so. In the meantime, tornadic activity like a rotating storm, again, has a lot of a very favorable environment to form. So while it's not likely, it's not zero. And we are on the fringe of a massive cold front, a very strong cold front, enough to produce a level 4 out of 5 risk zone. Not a common risk you can see here this time of year in the Atlantic coast here in the D.C. area, Carolinas, heading down toward Raleigh, North Carolina there. So we're not in the brunt of the severe weather zone, but we are in the fringe of it in the meantime. So because of that, we are issuing a storm tracker 2 alert day today due to that severe weather potential. And then following that, we've got a flash freeze. As if that wasn't enough, we're going to cool down quickly, widespread snow, and the lake effect as we head into the daytime tomorrow. So in the meantime today, highs push near 60. Hopefully stays cloudy. We're going to track a few thunderstorms arriving closer to the 4 to 6 p.m. time frame. 6 to 8 is when the widespread rain and storms arrive. And then following that, we've got that cool down. And Ben will be talking a bit more about what to expect throughout the day in a lot more detail coming up in a few minutes.
All right, Eric, thank you very much. And before that system hits here, it hit in the Midwest, causing blizzard conditions, making travel hazardous. Those snow and high winds made travel nearly impossible with zero visibility in parts of South Dakota, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota. Millions affected by those strong winds. Rain and thunderstorms in Iowa moving through the day before rapidly changing to snow and powerful winds. That set the stage for blizzard conditions there that lasted through early this morning. The heaviest snow moved in bands from west to east during last night. And while central Iowa is only expected to see a few inches of snow, higher totals are likely across the northern and eastern parts of the state. The biggest concern there, wind gusts between 50 and 60 miles per hour. The Live Nation antitrust trial is back on today.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Monday morning. Before we get to our photo of the day, if you're wondering what the conditions are this morning, well, we had a round of rain, even some rumbles of thunder passed through sections of especially northern Oneida County in the last hour or so. As that front moves its way north, of course, things begin to quiet down. So the rest of your morning will be mainly dry, mostly cloudy, and especially warmer than average for this time of year. Then, of course, this evening, we've got a very strong front to look out for, especially when it comes to severe weather risk. We'll be diving into that here in a few moments. For now, though, let's take a look at our photo of the day. This brings us to Utica, an amazing shot here sent into us by frequent submitter Lazor Photography. And the changing skies there, a beautiful scene of the what appear to be even ominous clouds out there in the distance, still very thick, and nonetheless, an amazing photo right here sent into us from Utica. If you like a photo like this, you'd like to send to us, WKTV.com/weather/pics. You can go to submit your photo yourself, and you include the location, your name if you want credit, and we always look forward to seeing submissions all across central New York. We like to showcase every corner of the area. That photo and every photo every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. A
York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everybody. On this Monday, we've got a very busy stretch of weather to look ahead to over the next 24 hours. We begin with a look at the radar and satellite. Let's see how things are shaping up right now. We have a warm front that rolled through about a few hours ago that produced the arrival of some isolated showers, even a rumble of thunder or two. But our attention turns to what's happening out here to our west. Notice here, those orange polygons here, blizzard warnings for sections east of Lake Michigan. And on top of that, blizzard warnings extending into, say, Illinois and as far north as the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Nonetheless, as this front continues its way eastward, we're going to initially see severe weather risk, followed by some wet, heavy snowfall on the backside of that system. So we see right here, much of that front shifting that rainfall to the north. Very dangerous weather in the southeast right now. That line of thunderstorms just passed through Atlanta and is now closely heading toward the low country here in a few moments. For now, though, it's still in much of the Carolinas in the next couple of hours. Today, we have a risk for some strong storms. Notice here, the yellow indicating level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather, and the green level 1 out of 5 risk for severe weather. And this is all driven in by a front that will be approaching from the west. And as that front rolls its way through, the biggest risks will be some strong winds, mainly south and west of us, but still we're on the fringe of those stronger winds. Then hail risk, mainly in the southern tier in Pennsylvania, but the big story today is the risk for tornadoes. I want to clarify, this doesn't mean we're going to get hit by a bunch of tornadoes. What it means is that we've got ingredients present for tornadoes to form easily. Whether they last long or not is dependent on the instability this afternoon. So let's take a look at the bigger picture here. So as a background, severe weather is mainly driven by 4 main ingredients, which I like to call SLIM. Stands for shear, lift, instability, and moisture. You get those 4, that's usually the prime ingredients for severe weather. Now, we have a lot of shear. That's the big thing today. Now, we have a lift, we have a cold front. Instability, not really that high, which is the deciding factor here because we're so far north away from all that instability. And on top of that, moisture as well, not that high. So we have 2 out of the 4 main ingredients, but shear is a big factor in it. So I carry that with a lot more weight compared to other factors here. And what that basically means is that when this front rolls its way through, there's so much rotational energy and movement of winds in the lower atmosphere that it's very easy for some of these storms, if they do form, to start rotating. And that's our biggest concern today. It's not high, but regardless of that risk, you guys should always be weather aware on a day like today. This cold front works its way through. We got widespread snow in the backside of this. That'll eventually exit, and then we got some lake effect to track as we head into Tuesday night into Wednesday. So we have first the severe risk this afternoon that usually arrives between 6 to 8 p.m. That's that window here. There's that front. As it works its way eastward, we're going to see snow on the backside of it, this flash freeze. We go from the 60s down into the 20s, wind chills near 0. So a big drop off in temperature. And following that, lake effect on Tuesday for your St. Paddy's Day, and then we're in the 40s by Wednesday, or Thursday, I should say, and into Friday. So pretty eventful next 24 hours. Of course, the Storm Tracker 2 app you can download as well. I'll likely be going live on social media in the next hour or so to give you guys some feedback if you have any questions to ask. Again, these are the days where you want to be aware of the situation where we're dealing with it now, which is that severe weather risk. So.
And, you know, keep your weather radios on and ready, especially as we go into tonight. We now have 3 weather radio stations serving our area, and I'm sure you'll get a little more into that on the live stream as well, but definitely going to be a busy day for the weather crew. Thank you very much, Eric. Still ahead, the time now.
With Ben Kinney and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary this noon.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And the big story this noon is what we are looking at going towards the 4 or 5 o'clock hour, and that is the potential for severe weather. And then behind it, believe it or not, snow.
A big swing in conditions over the next 12 to 18 hours. Let's dive right into it. So, again, today is a Storm Tracker 2 alert day. We will be entering this time frame this afternoon where you're going to want to remain weather aware. Now, we see here temperatures pushing near 60 already, pushing near 70 out in Syracuse. Now, a cold front starting to form out west near Buffalo. That's what we're tracking right now. Now, keep in mind, today, our severe weather risk, level 2 out of 5 for the areas in yellow, level 1 out of 5 for the areas in dark green. Biggest risk, some stronger wind gusts, but the big story is we are tracking the potential for storms to form, but the chance of them forming are low if there's a lack of instability, if it's cloudy out. If the sun comes out, there's an extra driver where if a storm forms, it can tap into insane, for lack of a better term, rotational energy in the atmosphere, which we're closely keeping an eye out for throughout the day today. You see here a level 4 out of 5 risk for the East Coast here, including warnings, which I'll show you here in a second, just outside the D.C. area. So we're not in the brunt of the system. We're on the fringe of it. But because of how strong this front is, we're not letting our guard down. Right now, the radar is pretty quiet. Zooming out a little bit, we can see, of course, we do have some warnings out. In fact, one warning out near Williamsport in Pennsylvania, a tornado possible warning. In fact, there are multiple tornado warnings just on the outskirts of Baltimore, heading into Maryland and eventually southern Pennsylvania near Harrisburg. So you see here, there is just so much shear or rotation in the atmosphere. We cannot let our guard down today. So yes, the chance of a storm forming, the chance of a severe storm forming, very low. But if it does form, it has the potential of turning severe rather quickly. So make sure you have our Storm Tracker 2 app handy. Down the QR code right there, it can take you right to the app. The time frame of this arriving this evening, 4 to 6 p.m. And beyond that, a massive switch in temperatures with some widespread snow, a flash freeze. We're going to break all that down time frame-wise coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. Along the shores of Sylvan Beach, ice ridges are building up. Take a look at this. During the winter, ice forms along the shore on Oneida Lake, and as temperatures rise, the ice breaks up. West winds blow in, push the ice against the shoreline. This is just the first wave of ice, with more to come as the days get warmer. Some years have been worse than others, with extensive property damage. But it's a sight locals are used to seeing close to spring every year.
So seeing this is awesome. This happens, every couple of years, and it's one of the greatest things you can see. I mean, all the water pushes all the ice up, and it's so cool.
It's as if we get a west wind tonight. The soap water is going to create momentum for that ice sheet to come up.
And from the sounds of it, there will be plenty of wind tonight. Well, happening today, New York State reminding...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today we are tracking the arrival of a strong cold front. And before that front, we had the potential of storms, significant storms to our south. Now we're on the fringe of how far north they go based off of that instability. That's the key here. When we talk about severe weather, there are 4 main ingredients, alluding to the acronym of SLIM: shear, lift, instability, and moisture. When it comes to shear, we got plenty of it, more so than we usually do, which is why today was so concerning. When it comes to lift, well, we've got a strong cold front here. That's going to lift the air. Then comes instability and moisture. Those are the 2 variables today that might determine whether we see a storm or not. And that's all driven in by the amount of sunshine we see. If the sun moves in, it means the instability rises, the moisture also rises, and we have the possibility of seeing some strong storms. I want to zoom out a little bit. You see here, this is a massive front. This same front producing blizzard conditions in the Midwest is producing a cold front hitting down into Mexico and Florida. This is a very, very strong front here. And while it is slamming the East Coast with significant severe weather, we're on the fringe of it here. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we're on level 1 and 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. Biggest concern, some stronger wind gusts, especially west of central New York. They are expected to weaken. Hail, also a less of a concern, but the main thing here is the risk for tornadoes. Notice it says 2%, so it's not high. This is not one of those extremely concerning days like we see in the middle of summertime or whatnot. This is just a day where we have just so much shear in the atmosphere that we don't want to let our guard down. So we're going to see this front roll through. Once we hit closer to 8 o'clock in the evening, once the widespread rain kicks in, severe risk is done. Then it switches over to wet snow, heavy snow overnight, drying up by early tomorrow, but then we're tracking lake effect. Initially north in the Tug Hill Plateau in the early afternoon, sweeping south into the Mohawk Valley as we head into Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. Something to watch out for when it comes to impacts for travel, especially for your Wednesday morning commute. So you see here, pretty quiet this afternoon. We're on the lookout for sunshine. Sun is the big key here. More sunshine, higher instability, higher chance for severe weather. Less sunshine, more stable, and less likely for severe weather. So that's the key here. Regardless of storm potential ahead of the front, the actual front itself rolls through in the evening. Heavy rain, some thunder and lightning, some stronger winds, and a massive shift in temperature going from the 60s down into the 30s, with feels like temperatures dropping even more as we head into Tuesday. Tuesday itself, windy, that's for sure, but also some isolated snow bands, mainly north and south of the Mohawk Valley. See this drop right here? We go down quickly. Feels like temperatures right here Tuesday morning in the single digits. Now, with the severe risk today, Storm Tracker 2 app, a great tool to have. You can download it here all the time, right there on the bottom of your screen, as well as a great place to download it right here on the screen right now. Great tool for hour-by-hour forecasts, and most importantly, warnings sent right to your phone. I always mention you can have 2 apps on your phone, the weather app that comes with your phone and that Storm Tracker 2 app, almost 2 vital things to have for your day-to-day life. So in case you're not watching the TV, it's a great tool to use if you're out and about. So again, make sure you're weather aware today, and then tonight, that Arctic blast, and we're back to some winter weather for St. Patrick's Day.
I don't know that I've ever seen it change so fast from being 60s to a foot of, or not a foot, but several inches of snow.
Oh yeah, quite a shift. It's rare for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Eric, thank you very much. Protein is a critical part. Hey, good afternoon once again. Thank you for joining us on this Storm Tracker 2 Alert Day. I'm Ben Kinney, in for Gary this noon.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And the one thing that tells the one picture, I should say, that tells the story is this right here. I mean, look at in Buffalo, 40 degrees, but you go a few miles to the east in Rochester, it's 64, 20-degree difference.
Yeah, a powerful cold front arriving today, and that's our big concern. Let's take a look right now at the temperatures here. Now, we're pushing near 60. It's already near 70 in Syracuse. And there's a couple of things. Higher temperatures, obviously one thing, but when it comes to the sunshine, if we have more of that sun, the instability is there. That's what we're concerned about. Now, for now, it's pretty cloudy, but we'll see how it pans out in the next few hours as there's some clearing down to our south and west. In the meantime, we are in alert mode because of this right here. Now, normally, when we see level 2 out of 5 risks for severe weather here in central New York, or that yellow zone there, we typically go into alert mode. In the summertime, the severe weather is a lot more likely. We'd be talking several thunderstorms, potentially a lot of them severe. Today, it's not that case. The reason for that is while we might not have the heat, the humidity, and the instability, we have shear. Lots of it, and shear being change in wind speed and direction with altitude. Now that's important because it's the movement of the air which can cause rotating storms. Then you add the instability, and it's like adding fuel to a fire. But we just don't have the fire yet. That's the thing. But if you do, it'll start igniting. That's the thing. So we have, of course, that frontal boundary producing significant severe weather along the East Coast. Here locally, things are pretty quiet, but there are some pretty significant storms, especially to our south. A couple of them tornado possible storms. There were a couple of tornado warnings here earlier. They have since expired, but nonetheless, still some pretty decent severe weather down into the Pennsylvania border, bordering Maryland. So while the weather here locally today might not be significant when it comes to severe potential, there is still that potential. So we'll keep a close eye on the radar throughout the next 12 or so hours. Following this severe risk, it switches to widespread snow. We cool down quickly. We go back down into the 30s, 20s, wind chill factors in the single digits tomorrow. So quite a difference 24 hours makes. We'll be diving into that. Plus, we'll break down the hour-by-hour forecast for this front coming up in a few minutes. Ben?
All right, Eric, thank you very much. President Trump has warned that NATO...
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon, everybody. Today, looking quite busy in the weather department here. Let's take a look at the radar and satellite and see how things are shaping up at this hour. We can see here we've got a front rolling its way through from the west to the east and a trough ahead of it, with that warm front which brought us those morning thunderstorms, an isolated thunderstorm in central Oneida County. Still, we have severe warnings outside of the D.C. Baltimore area in Pennsylvania, now outside of Harrisburg. And as we zoom out, I want to mention just how significantly large this front is. The same front producing blizzard warnings in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and even some blizzard-like conditions in Canada has swept into central Mexico. Look how far south that has gone. So if you're wondering just how strong of a front this is, I think that probably is a good way to explain it. The entire U.S. is engulfed with it. Now here locally, we have some impacts. We're not in the brunt of this front, but we are on the fringe of that severe weather risk. And most importantly, despite lacking two of the ingredients which would cause our area to be a lot higher on that severe risk category, we are making up for it by one major one. So there are four main categories: shear, lift, instability, and moisture. Moisture and instability are on the lower side due to temperature still hovering in the 60s. That might change based off of sunshine. But we have lift, a strong front moving in, and incredible amounts of shear, which is why we've made it an alert day. What that means is that there's not a high chance of us seeing widespread storms. There's going to be a line of heavy rain, maybe some thunder and lightning, but the actual severe storm risk is lower. If a storm does form and taps into that shear, it basically has a very easy path of creating severe weather. So, or even a rotating storm. Notice here, risk or damaging wind, mainly south and east of us. Hail, mainly in the southern tier in central Pennsylvania. But the big thing here, risk for tornadoes. We're at 2%, which isn't a lot, but based off the fact that we're non-zero, that's the biggest concern today. If it does form, if a storm does try to rotate, it's going to rotate very easily. Now, it might not last long with the lack of instability, but you see where I'm getting here. We're on the fringe of impactful severe weather. Regardless, widespread rain moves in this evening, followed by heavy wet snow on the backside of this Arctic blast. And then that flash freeze kicks in. We go from the 60s down into the 20s with feels like temperatures near zero. So a crazy weather whiplash in the next 12 to 18 hours. Then as we head into tomorrow, we've got some lake effect, mainly north of the New York State Thruway, but that band is going to sweep its way south into the Mohawk Valley as we head into Tuesday night and into Wednesday. So timing it out here, you can see we've got rainfall working its way in from the west. This is the time frame here. 4 to 6 p.m. is the time frame of potential severe weather. Once that exits and we see that line of storms roll through, risk is gone and we cool down quickly with that widespread snow working its way in. So in the meantime, today, a great tool to have the Storm Tracker 2 app, live radar, you get hour-by-hour conditions, and most importantly, you get warnings sent right to your phone as they happen. So if you're out and about, if you're not watching the TV, it's a great tool to make sure you and your family are safe if things do turn severe. But I do want to, again, emphasize, the risk today is not high, but it's non-zero. And then we're entering, of course, that season where, down in the southeast, multiple tornado warnings. This is a very strong front, and we see conditions like this. We'd rather play it safe, make sure you guys are aware of it versus, not mention it at all and then get caught off guard.
And I was just reading the latest outlook issued by the Storm Prediction Center about this whole situation that's unfolding, and it stayed mostly the same. So, it's there. We're on the fringe, but better safe than sorry. Thank you very much, Eric. Well, that system that's going to be affecting our weather down south don't feed us snow in the Midwest. NBC's Angie Lastman has more.
This morning, just days before the official start of spring, a wintry blast to start the week. 30 million Americans under winter alerts. And wild weather, from blizzards to tornadoes, sweeping the country. Heavy snow in the plains and Midwest. Some areas seeing more than 2 feet. The whiteout creating challenges on the roads. Semi-trucks at a standstill amid heavy snowfall on this interstate in Wisconsin.
Middle of March almost, so I feel like we probably shouldn't be dealing with this right now.
Across the South, millions dealing with the severe weather, including tornado alerts. Drone video capturing this possible twister in Arkansas. The state also seeing dramatic storms and winds reaching over 75 miles per hour, toppling trees. And out in Texas, cars caught in the middle of a dangerous dust storm, creating a multi-vehicle pileup. While a line of showers and thunderstorms are hitting the East Coast Monday, from New York to Florida, causing a hassle on the road. In New York City, big trucks even banned from crossing bridges and tunnels Sunday due to high wind conditions. Storms also impacting air travel across the country. This morning, a ground stop announced at the nation's busiest airport in Atlanta, and thousands of delays and hundreds of cancellations over the weekend, including at Chicago O'Hare, where the FAA reported Sunday average delays of nearly 6 hours.
Still ahead, we're going to have a look at local anniversaries.
News with Kristen Copeland.
There's been a lot of talk about what the weather will do tonight and into tomorrow. The good news is it's not going to be on the severe side, not as severe as we thought. Let's go over to Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis, tracking in the Weather Center with that positive news.
Yeah, these storms are just not materializing as we were thinking. And one of the big reasons why is the lack of sunshine. We just did not get enough energy in the atmosphere. And again, this is a very, very good thing, because there's a lot of other ingredients in place that could have caused these storms to be pretty strong. Again, tonight, just not seeing this unfold. We are looking at some heavier rain to the west, but I think this is going to be more standard weather that we're used to. Gusty conditions, locally heavy rain. Here's the cold front out towards Syracuse. Not even any thunder and lightning with this, but again, that I think will change as this moves in from the west. What we are tracking, though, is the after effects. As this cold front rolls through, we're expecting rain to change over to snow tonight, and snow looks to become problematic as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday with some lake effect snow. Again, current temperature 62 degrees. We're expecting snow accumulation tonight on the backside of this cold front, and for most of us, it's between about 1 to 3 inches of accumulation, lesser amounts to the east, slightly higher amounts to the west. Again, some snow on the ground first thing tomorrow morning, and again, slippery spots for the Tuesday morning commute. Again, big changes taking place tonight. We're still tracking rain and wind. Temperatures are going to be falling this evening. Again, back to winter tomorrow. We'll look at the forecast that's coming out. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. It may not be as bad as originally thought, but National Grid is still reminding people to not go near downed wires. They could be live. Never touch a person or object that's in contact with a downed line, because electricity can pass through you too. And water conducts electricity. If you see a line in a puddle, that's enough to shock you. Just stay away. The president of the Utica Police PB.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis.
Good evening. So some good news here. We don't have any severe weather. The severe weather risk is pretty much off the table tonight, and a lot of this has to do with a lack of ingredients coming together. We do expect to see some rain. We expect the winds to pick up tonight. We're expecting a very sharp drop in temperature. So there's a lot of weather to get through, but some of the more dangerous aspects of this that we were concerned about are not materializing. So again, very good news tonight in that department. A live look in downtown Utica. Cloudy skies. This is actually one of the main reasons why there's just not a lot of energy, enough energy in the atmosphere to get some of these stronger storms. Again, we are tracking some weather tonight. Rain is going to be moving in from the west, and it will be coming down heavy at times. This is the cold front to the west. We've seen a 20-degree drop in temperature at the Syracuse airport over the last hour. So all the warm weather we saw today will be coming to an end as we head into tonight. And as we go further to the west, you can see that changeover taking place from rain eventually over to snow. And again, we're going to see the same thing happen locally closer to midnight. And we do expect to see some snow accumulation overnight. And this is going to have an impact on travel. If you're going to be traveling late tonight, do expect to see some snow accumulation. For most of us, it's just an inch or two of accumulation, but it could make things a little bit slippery overnight. Tuesday morning, it's cloudy, it's dry. Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday evening, we're tracking lake effect snow that will be rolling into central New York, and this will have an impact on the evening commute in spots. And again, look at this sharp drop in temperature. It's currently 62 degrees in Rome, but not for long. We're going to be seeing this cold front move through central New York over the next couple of hours, and again, a big drop in temperature. It's going to be much colder tomorrow. Temperatures will be in the low 20s. The wind chill will be in the single digits, so dress nice and warm. We are definitely back to winter, very much winter here Tuesday in terms of temperature. And we're also going to be seeing some snow here as we head into Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. So again, big picture shows this cold front. Again, it's a big, powerful area of low pressure. So we still get the drop in temperature. We get the wind with this tonight. And we get the cold weather to follow as we head into tomorrow. Again, on the back end of this cold front, again, a lot of this falls overnight. We're thinking most areas pick up an inch or two of accumulation. West of Utica, especially some of the higher elevations, could pick up 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. Again, this is rain tonight, at least early tonight, and then closer to midnight, this turns over to snow. Temperatures will fall below freezing overnight. And again, a windy, cold Tuesday. Lake effect snow is expected to develop later in the day, and it looks to set up near or just north of the Mohawk Valley as we head into tomorrow night and into early Wednesday. We could be talking about a few inches of snow heading into tomorrow night, thinking a general 3 to 7 inches of snow close to the New York State Thruway. Heading north this band where it's not going to be coming down quite as hard, thinking about 1 to 3 inches of snow, areas like Boonville and Old Forge, and then heading west, closer to the heavier parts of this band, could see 7 inches or more. That would be the far western part of Oneida County and just north of Syracuse. Again, that's for tomorrow night. Rain changes to snow tonight down to 23. Again, watch out for icy spots tomorrow morning. I think a widespread freeze takes place overnight, so untreated surfaces will be slippery. And then again, it's just a cold, windy St. Patrick's Day, 27 for the high. Again, lake effect snow tomorrow night. Wednesday looking dry, and then rain and snow showers Thursday. Still kind of stuck in this late winter weather pattern. Temperatures in the 40s heading into the weekend.
Your 7-day reminds me, we haven't done St. Patrick's Day yet.
Yes,
that's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, yes.
Got through the parade? Have you thawed out yet?
I'm finally thawing out.
My toes.
Yeah.
I could not feel my toes,
Yeah.
but got through it. Happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. I will remember. About 75% of the U.S. storm that more than 250 million people are expected to experience, from severe thunderstorms, blizzard conditions, widespread strong wind. Here's Lee Waldman.
The East Coast is bracing itself against a powerful storm that barreled through the central U.S. this weekend. The mid-Atlantic facing a historic threat from northern South Carolina to the Pennsylvania-Maryland border, staring down a 60% chance of damaging winds from severe thunderstorms. Meanwhile, in the south, weather whiplash. Snowflakes are expected in places like Tennessee, Alabama, and northern Georgia just hours after strong to severe storms ripped through with damaging winds. Jackson, Mississippi saw snowflakes and sleet pellets early Monday. The weather pushed Atlanta public schools to switch to a remote learning day. Air travel turning into a nightmare during spring break with a combination of weather impacts and a TSA worker shortage amidst an ongoing partial government shutdown. Some traveling out of Chicago forced to change their plans.
We're just trying to make sure we can get out, and so last night our flight canceled, and so we're here till like midnight, and so now we're back again today.
Several places in Michigan and Wisconsin received more than 30 inches of snow since a blizzard began hammering the region this weekend.
It's terrible. I would absolutely not be out driving if I didn't have to be. If you don't have a 4x4, I wouldn't leave at all.
At least one person died in a crash in Minnesota. Hundreds of vehicles went off the roads, and dozens were hurt in crashes, according to the state police there. I'm Lee Waldman reporting.
Still ahead, FEMA is bringing back a tornado. A burn ban is in place in New York State due to the dry conditions. Right now, the snow is melting, uncovering the dry grass and dead brush. The State Department of Environmental Conservation puts this burn ban in place to reduce the risk of brush fires and wildfires. Small backyard fire pits, however, are allowed. The burn ban is in place until May 14th. A tornado tracking tool used by FEMA is back up and running. The critical mapping program is used by search and rescue teams nationwide. It helps them pinpoint a tornado's path of destruction within minutes of touchdown. FEMA's contract with Canopy Weather, which provides the mapping, expired last month. After news coverage on the issue, FEMA contacted Canopy over the weekend to restore the service. You know, on a day like today, we don't like to stay away from the Weather Center for too long. Chief Meteorologist Bill Cardis is tracking what we can expect tonight and the rest of the week.
Yeah, so we are looking at some pretty strong, I should say some heavy rain to the west, but the strong component of this has not materialized, which is really good news because we thought that we could see some severe weather out of this today. I don't think that's going to be the case. We will see some locally heavy rain, some gusty winds, but I think for the most part, this is going to be pretty standard stuff here. The bigger concern moving forward is the cold air on the backside of this front. In fact, it's cold enough to turn rain over to snow, and I think there's going to be some accumulating snow tonight, mainly after midnight. So if you're going to be traveling late tonight and into early tomorrow, expect slippery conditions. Untreated surfaces could be very, very slippery tomorrow morning as temperatures are going to free fall. Current temperature is 62 degrees at Griffith and Rome, and look at Syracuse, 46, Rochester 37, Buffalo 34. All of this cold weather is moving in. In fact, the Syracuse airport saw a 20-degree drop in temperature in just 1 hour. That happened over the previous hour. I think the same is going to happen here. We're going to have this very significant drop in temperature here over the next couple of hours. Wind gusts across the state about 30 to as high as 40 miles an hour. Again, gusty conditions could be expected tonight. And that wind is going to continue into tomorrow. But the bigger story will be some accumulating snow in the cards as we head into tomorrow night. A little bit of lake effect snow returns. We've got to look at these big swings in temperature coming up. Kristen, back over to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. Still ahead, simple ways to add protein.
Along the shores of Sylvan Beach, ice jams are building up, and so is people's interest.
It's fascinating to see. I mean, all this ice coming up, it's so cool. How many places you get to see this?
These ice ridges happen every year, this time reaching all the way up to the sidewalk, covering park benches and hitting light poles.
It seems like the ice gets higher and higher every year, actually, too. So, and there's still more ice out there.
This is the first wave of ice to hit the shore, but as temperatures rise, the ice breaks up and wind from the west blow in and push the ice against the shoreline.
If we get a west wind tonight, the soap water is going to create momentum for that ice sheet to come up.
Some years have been worse than others, with extensive property damage.
It pushes in the houses up there in the beach, yep.
The ice starts to move. It can happen fast and become uncontrollable. This video from Shane Muckey shared on Facebook is now gaining attention online, showing large sheets of ice crashing into the shore.
House and the lake's locked up, and we go to Oneida, come back, an hour and a half later, the lake's open, or it's breaking up. So it happens very quick.
But so far this year, it's been a unique spot for locals and tourists to stop by and take a picture. In Sylvan Beach, Julianne Fike, News Channel 2.
Julianne, thank you. We got to head over there and take a picture, Bill.
Yeah, the heavy rain is going to definitely be a thing, and we're also tracking some colder weather here as we head into tonight. We are tracking some heavier rain moving into central New York, and the big story is the fact that we didn't get a lot of energy in the atmosphere for these storms to be strong. So there is good news here. This is still going to produce some heavy rain, and it's still going to produce some wind, but I think the severe weather threat is pretty much off the table here as we head into tonight. What we are tracking, though, is this big drop in temperature. In fact, you can see rain turns over to snow as we head into the western New York, and we're expecting the same thing to happen here as we head closer to and after midnight. In fact, there's going to be some slippery spots by tomorrow morning. A flash freeze is expected. We're also talking about accumulating snow as we head into tonight. In fact, I think a lot of places pick up at least 1 to 2 inches of snowfall, some locally heavier snow, perhaps as much as 2 to 4 inches possible west of Utica, especially along the higher elevation. So some snow tonight, another round of snow heading into tomorrow night. This time it's going to be some lake effect snow as we get into a much more typical winter pattern here in central New York. We're tracking the snow and how this impacts the morning and evening drive, and that's coming up. Kristen, back to you.
All right, Bill, thank you. In case you missed it, there's a boil water order for a portion of...
Hey, go. You need to know. Will they need a jacket? An umbrella? What should your kids wear to school tomorrow? Get the bus stop forecast only from Storm Tracker 2. Brought to you by Utica National Insurance Group. The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We continue to keep an eye on the radar, but at this point, we're not concerned for any strong storms. The ingredients just didn't come together for that, which is good news. We are taking a live look in Oneonta, temperature 59 degrees. We are tracking rain. We are tracking wind. We are tracking a big drop in temperature. But in terms of any violent weather, I think that's off the table. Again, the ingredients not quite coming together locally for that. And again, some good news in that department. But again, we are going to be seeing heavy rain as we get into this evening. And there will be a pretty sudden drop in the temperature over the next couple of hours. Rain does turn over to snow tonight, and this will cause some slippery spots overnight and especially into tomorrow morning. A flash freeze takes place overnight. Things could be pretty slippery heading out for the Tuesday morning commute. In fact, let's take a look at the travel impacts. Got rain to snow tonight. It is cloudy tomorrow. On untreated surfaces in the morning, it'll be slippery, like your driveway, sidewalks, parking lots, but I think most of the main roads will be all right. But again, do watch out for slippery spots into tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening because we have another weather system moving in. Lake effect snow is expected to take place and affect parts of our area. The winds will be picking up tonight in the wake of this cold front. They turn into the west. We'll see gusts between about 20 to 35 miles an hour. Could see wind gusts as high as 40 miles an hour Tuesday. Just a windy and cold afternoon. Now the winds are going to be sticking around here for the most part over the next several days, although the strongest winds look to be heading into this evening and tonight. Still in the 60s, at least for now. We have a strong cold front knocking on our doorstep. Clinton 66 degrees, Cassville 62, Jeff and Mohawk 59, Stewart and Cooperstown 61. Cold front rolls through tonight. Again, back to winter here heading into tomorrow. Again, that transition from rain to snow takes place tonight, and we do pick up some snow accumulation. Not a lot, but enough to make things a little bit slippery tomorrow morning. Most of us pick up just an inch or two of accumulation overnight and into tomorrow morning. Again, rain turns over to snow closer to midnight, and it does accumulate overnight. The snow comes to an end by tomorrow morning. We're looking at dry conditions for the Tuesday morning commute. Lake effect snow is expected to develop with winds turning into the west-northwest heading into Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. We think this band will settle into the Mohawk Valley or just north of the Mohawk Valley tomorrow night and into early Wednesday. And this could produce a couple of inches of snowfall in and along the New York State Thruway, as much as maybe 3 to 7 inches of snow. Heavier totals possible closer to the lakes. And again, that's going to be tomorrow night and into early Wednesday. Tonight, rain turns to snow. Watch out for slippery spots by tomorrow morning. Temperatures will drop into the low 20s after being in the 60s today. Snow showers tomorrow, and again, just a very cold afternoon. Back to reality. 27 for the high. We're in the low 30s Wednesday. Rain, snow showers Thursday and Friday. Temperatures will be in the low 40s. A dry start to the weekend, and then more rain and snow showers Sunday. Temperatures stay cooler than average for this time of the year, with highs in the upper 30s to low 40s as we head into early next week. We'll be right back.
With Kristen Copeland.
A roller coaster of a week ahead. We had mild temperatures today, more than 60 degrees, and now the temperature is going to drop. Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis is tracking from the Weather Center.
Yeah, we're keeping a very close eye on the radar. Part of this forecast is not going to come together, and that's the severe component of today's weather. we didn't get enough instability in the atmosphere to generate any strong storms. So that's good news. This will produce heavy rain and gusty winds, and this will also produce a sharp drop in temperature. In fact, on the backside of this, we're expecting rain to turn over to snow, and that snow to accumulate as we head past midnight tonight. So there will be some snow accumulation to be had across central New York, and we're going to see a very sharp drop in temperature here over the next couple of hours. Watch out on untreated surfaces tomorrow morning. Again, things could be a little bit slippery. We do expect some snow accumulation on the backside of this front. Again, rain turns to snow tonight. For many of us, just an inch or two of accumulation tonight and into early tomorrow morning. We are tracking additional snow for tomorrow evening and tomorrow night as lake effect snow develops. Current temperature 54 degrees and falling rapidly as this cold front rolls through. Temperatures will drop very, very quickly over the next several hours. They'll be below freezing closer to midnight tonight. And again, it's back to winter here for tomorrow. Again, tracking some accumulating snow. Look at the forecast coming up. Kristen, back to you.
Sylvan Beach is known for its sunsets, but the past few days, people are coming for a different reason. News Channel 2's Julianne Fike went to Sylvan Beach to see how people are taking in the annual Oneida Lake ice breakup.
Look at that ice.
This video, taken by Shane Muckey and posted on Facebook, shows the ice along the shores of Sylvan Beach building ice jams. And people are stopping by to check it out.
The greatest things you can see. I mean, all the water pushes all the ice up, and it's so cool.
This is the first wave of ice to hit the shore, but as temperatures rise, the ice breaks up and wind from the west blow in and push the ice against the shoreline.
It seems like the ice gets higher and higher every year, actually, too. So, and there's still more ice out there.
These ice ridges happen every year, this time reaching all the way up to the sidewalk, covering park benches and hitting light poles.
If we get a west wind tonight, the soap water is going to create momentum for that ice sheet to come up.
Some years have been worse than others, with extensive property damage.
It pushes in the houses up there in the beach, yep.
House and the lake's locked up, and we go to Oneida, come back, an hour and a half later, the lake's open, or it's breaking up. So that happens very quick.
But so far this year, it's been a unique spot for locals and tourists to stop by and take a picture. In Sylvan Beach, Julianne Fike, News Channel 2.
New at 6, a 2.5-hour standoff in Rome ends peacefully.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're tracking a strong cold front moving in from the west. This is a live look in downtown Utica where the rain is starting to pick up. The rain is going to become heavy as we head into this evening as the cold front rolls in from the west. And the good news is that the severe component, or at least the severe thunderstorm chances, pretty much off the table. The ingredients just didn't come together for that. So there is some good news here, but we're still expecting the rest of the weather to unfold in terms of the drop in temperature, rain turning over to snow, icy conditions expected tonight. The winds are also going to be out there, especially overnight. You can see to the west, rain does turn over to snow closer to Buffalo. This does make the changeover locally closer to midnight, or just before midnight, and it does have an impact on travel after midnight as snow does accumulate. Tuesday morning, aside from a few icy spots, I think it's generally dry and cloudy. We are tracking lake effect snow that will develop tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow evening, and it primarily falls tomorrow night. Big story tomorrow, the much colder temperatures. We're into the low 20s. The wind chill is going to feel like single digits. It is going to be very cold after being relatively warm today. And temperatures, again, for now, are still in the low 60s in spots. Mike and New Hartford, 67. Clinton, 66. Middleville, 57. Jeff and Mohawk, 59. Stewart and Cooperstown, 61. This is going to be short-lived. The Syracuse airport dropped 20 degrees in an hour. And again, that cold weather is on its way in. Again, the cold front sweeps through the region tonight. It does produce some snow accumulation, an inch or two of accumulation overnight. Again, most of this accumulates after midnight, enough to make things a little bit slippery tomorrow morning. Again, rain does turn over to snow closer to midnight. Temperatures fall below freezing overnight. It's windy and it's much colder heading into Tuesday. Again, a dry start to Tuesday, but lake effect snow showers will be developing and dropping in from the north throughout the day, setting up in the Mohawk Valley in the evening time. And this snow continues overnight and into early Wednesday. The early call here is for a couple of inches of snowfall tomorrow night and into early Wednesday morning, as much as 3 to 7 inches in the most persistent bands, which will be near or just north of the New York State Thruway. Closer to the lake shore, 7 inches or more is possible in the western part of Oneida County, just north of Syracuse. Rain turns to snow tonight, low of 23. Watch out for some black ice tomorrow morning on untreated surfaces. Tomorrow's high only 27. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Lake effect snow tomorrow night. Wednesday looks to dry out. 30 for the high. Temperatures in the low 40s. Rain, snow showers Thursday and Friday. And temperatures stay colder than average for this time of the year, but we are above freezing. So any snow that does happen, Kristen, won't really be sticking around. So there's some good news there.
So we can still be annoyed by it,
Yes.
but not frustrated by having to shovel it.
Exactly.
All right, Bill,
Yeah.
thank you. Still to come here on News.
Look at the forecast with Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis. I can hear the rain out there. That's going to change over, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we've had a significant drop in the temperature. My home weather station went down 16 degrees in 15 minutes today.
Wow!
Yeah, it was incredible. This cold front just sweeping in, and we're going to see that temperature continue to cool off. That rain turns over to snow tonight, and it's going to become problematic. I think it's going to be enough to accumulate, and as we fall below freezing, everything will ice up. We've got a flash freeze. I guess the good news is that a lot of this will happen at night, when hopefully not too many people are on the roads. It's mostly after midnight, but again, it's going to set the stage for some pretty icy conditions heading into tomorrow morning. We have a variety of different winter weather advisories in effect. We have winter weather advisories for Chenango, Madison, and Oneida County, as well as northern Herkimer County, and a lake effect snow warning for Lewis County. And the bottom line is we are tracking additional snow as we head into tomorrow. A live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. Again, it's raining across the region, but that rain does turn over to snow heading into tonight. Current temperature at Griffiths and Rome, 36 degrees. We'll fall into the low 20s overnight as it turns icy. Again, very slippery conditions by tomorrow morning. Lake effect snow tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. We're going to look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Starting now, a burn ban is in place due to the dry conditions. It may not seem dry right now, but trust me, it will be over the next several weeks. The snow is melting to uncover dry grass and dead brush. The State Department of Environmental Conservation, not transportation, conservation, puts the burn ban in place to reduce the risk of wildfires. Small backyard fire pits are allowed. The burn ban is in place until May 14th. With the war in Iran now in its 17th day, President Trump insists the rise in gas prices is temporary and necessary, but the president is getting a cool response from several countries. He's asked to help the U.S. secure the strait from an Iranian blockade to allow oil exports from the region to resume. Strait of Hormuz. NBC's Melanie Zanota has the latest from Washington.
Someday rebuilding that country.
President Trump feeling pressure on rising gas.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. We're taking a live look in downtown Utica. It's a cold rain tonight, but temperatures are free falling. We were in the low 60s just a couple of hours ago. We're now into the 30s, and it's just a matter of time before this rain turns over to snow. This is a live look at the Yorkville Battery Storm Tracker 2 Doppler radar. All of this mess that you're seeing here is this transition from snow or from rain to snow as this cold air works in on the backside of this cold front. There is a lot of snow to the west that'll be moving in, and it's going to take several hours for temperatures to fall below freezing and for the snow to start to stick. But we do expect some of this snow to stick tonight and into early tomorrow, and we could have some problems on the roads as temperatures fall below freezing. We're talking about a flash freeze that making icy conditions on untreated surfaces. Rain turns to snow tonight. Again, that has an impact on travel. The worst of this will be after midnight. And then lake effect snow will be around tomorrow, especially in the latter half of the day, primarily in the evening and Tuesday night. Big story, the cold weather. We're looking at highs only in the low 20s tomorrow. The wind chills will be in the single digits. So it's going to be quite a shock to the system after such warm weather that we have experienced this afternoon. Again, the strong cold front continues to march in from the west. This did not produce the severe weather that we thought it could. conditions were marginal here, but they never really materialized. We didn't get enough sunshine for any potential strong storms, which is good news. But again, as we head into tonight, it's all about the cold weather working in. And we do expect some snow accumulation, especially west of Utica, 2 to 4 inches of accumulation by tomorrow morning. 1 to 2 inches from Utica east. Again, enough to make things slippery here for the morning. The rain turns to snow tonight, but it does come to an end before tomorrow morning. I think the snow is over before daybreak. And we are looking at dry weather for most of Tuesday, but it's windy and cold. We will be tracking lake effect snow showers as we head into Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. And just a cold stretch of weather ahead. There will be some snow accumulation from lake effect. We think it'll be near or just near maybe north of the Mohawk Valley, about 3 to 7 inches of snow possible tomorrow night. Not a big accumulation, but again, it could make things a little bit slippery here. This lake effect snow will be coming to an end Wednesday morning. Rain turns to snow tonight, low of 23. Again, lots of slippery spots first thing tomorrow, especially those untreated surfaces. High of only 27 tomorrow, cold, windy afternoon. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. Cold weather lingers for the most part. We're into the low 40s Thursday, Friday, rain, snow showers. Low 40s Saturday. Temperatures stay in the 30s. Looking ahead to Sunday and Monday. We'll be right back.
All the colors on the radar, and we have already, right in Utica still rain, but everyone else is changing over now, right?
Yeah, we actually have a kind of a wild night in store. We've got a lightning strike north of Syracuse.
Is that like thunder snow?
Thunder snow, and then we go to the west. There's 10 strikes in this spot out here.
Whoa.
So I can't rule it out tonight. We might see a rumble of thunder. Ironically, we couldn't get it with temperatures in the 60s with this cold front. We get it with temperatures in the 30s.
That is very ironic.
Sometimes that's just how weather works. We are tracking this big changeover from rain to snow. This will come with a slew of problems tonight, traveling-wise. The biggest one is the flash freeze. As temperatures fall below freezing, rain turns over to snow, everything turns icy. Untreated surfaces are going to be a mess here tonight. We also have winter weather advisories in effect for areas west of Utica with snow accumulation expected tonight. We're also tracking some lake effect for tomorrow. Again, we're seeing this transition happen now, rain turning over to snow across the region. This is going to continue tonight. Current temperature 33 degrees at Griffiths and Rome, but you can see we're getting very close to that freezing mark. So just a matter of time before we see that snow arrive across all of central New York. Watch out for icy spots through tomorrow morning. We're tracking some lake effect snow tomorrow, along with some very cold weather. Look at the forecast coming up. Jason, back to you.
Bill, thank you. Starting now, a burn ban in place because of the dry conditions over the next few weeks. Right now, the snow is melting to uncover dry grass and dead brush. We've got a lot of rain today, but State Department of Environmental Conservation puts this burn ban in place every year. That helps reduce the risk of wildfires. So remember, small backyard fire pits are allowed. The burn ban is in place until May 14th. With the war in Iran now in its 17th day.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's Chief Meteorologist Bill Curtis.
Good evening. This is a live look in downtown Utica. We are still tracking rain here, but we've been getting a lot of reports of a changeover that's been taking place over the past hour. Even here on Smith Hill, we're at 1,200 feet above sea level, and we've switched over to a combination of sleet and snow, and it's pretty slippery on the hill. But the lower elevations, at least for now, are seeing a cold rain. I don't think that's going to last for much longer. We're seeing this transition happen from west to east, where we are getting some that transition over to snow. We're also tracking some lightning strikes. This is a new development. We've seen a couple of them to the west. So it is possible that we might be getting a few rumbles of thunder tonight. I would say it's a pretty low chance, but not unheard of here based on what we're dealing with tonight. The bigger story will be the slippery conditions that develop as temperatures fall below freezing. And we're talking about a widespread flash freeze as we see this rain turn to snow, temperatures fall below freezing, untreated surfaces turn very icy tonight. So just be careful if you're heading out late tonight or early tomorrow. I think that's when it's going to be the slipperiest. Tomorrow morning looks dry, but again, some icy spots to be had. Lake effect snow showers develop later in the day. Big story tomorrow, the cold. Temperatures only in the low 20s, wind chills in the single digits. Again, all part of a very powerful cold front moving through central New York. And again, we're seeing the big changes tonight. We were in the low 60s today. Now we're already down into the low 30s. And again, that area of rain is turning over to snow tonight. We're expecting snow accumulation. In fact, most areas pick up at least an inch or two of accumulation. There will be higher amounts west of Utica where that changeover is happening sooner. But again, it will make things a little bit slippery in the morning. Snow does come to an end before the morning commute. Temperatures will start out in the teens and low 20s and just a very cold day. Lake effect snow develops tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. The bands will be very close to or just north of the Mohawk Valley, and it will produce some accumulating snow here tomorrow night into early Wednesday, and then that snow does come to an end. We're thinking a couple of inches of snow here, perhaps as high as 3 to 7 inches in and around the Mohawk Valley. Again, this is for tomorrow night and into Wednesday. Rain turns to snow tonight, low of 23. Again, watch out for icy spots overnight and into early tomorrow. Snow showers tomorrow afternoon, becomes lake effect snow, high of 27. Storm Tracker 2 7-day forecast. We're still cold Wednesday, but we do dry out, high of 30. Rain, snow showers Thursday, Friday. Dry Saturday, more rain and snow showers Sunday. Temperatures remain cold for this time of the year, with highs in the 40s and upper 30s. We'll be right back.